Hi, my name is Richard Dahlstrom, and I would like to share with you a practice related to Bible reading. This is a relatively new practice in my career of Bible reading, which spans about 45 years. So I've been reading the Bible a long time. Early on, I spent my time reading big swaths of the Bible on a pretty much daily basis so that I got a good feel for the whole story and how all the pieces of the Bible fit together, and particularly how all the pieces point to Christ. More recently, though, I want to share with you a practice that brings me great joy, and that is connecting Scripture that is now embedded in me with broader reading. On my sabbatical, from which I've just returned, I spent some time reading Native Americans. I spent some time reading writings of the Jewish Holocaust survivors. I spent some time reading Buddhists and Taoists, looking at movies, listening to music. And what a joy to find scriptural truths about contentment, living in the present, our longing for justice, our capacity to love one another, our call to love one another. What a joy to find these things scattered throughout humanity, not just within the confines of Christianity, but throughout humanity. This is what some people call the perennial tradition, meaning, in my interpretation, Ecclesiastes 3, God has placed eternity in the hearts of everyone. And because of that, we have these longings for beauty and intimacy and justice and hope and meaning. We have this call to courage and sacrifice and generosity and hospitality. These things are embedded in us. Our longing for that kind of a world is placed there by God. The reason that I so much enjoy this particular practice as it relates to Bible reading, bringing the Bible now into my broader reading, is because this is exactly what Paul did in Acts 17. When he stood in front of a group of Greek citizens, not Greek citizens, but people from Athens. It was during the time of the Roman Empire. But when he stood in front of those people, he didn't quote Old Testament law or Hebrew scholars. He quoted Greek poets. He said to them, as some of your own poets have said, in him, the creator of the universe, we live, move, and have our being. And then he goes on to say that we are God's offspring. What a powerful statement that sets the table for him to declare to them the eternal truth found in Scripture, that Elohim, the creating God of the Old Testament, has created humankind in God's image, that we bear the image of our Creator, and that image is born in our longings for justice and beauty and hope and mercy. So Paul builds a bridge, but you cannot build a bridge between culture and eternal truth found in Scripture unless two things happen. Number one, you have to know Scripture really well. That's why you need to be reading the Bible on a regular basis and wide swaths of it to get the whole arc of the story. And number two, I think also important, we need to read the culture. We need to understand in our own context what God is saying to us here in the West by reading beyond the walls and confines of Christian literature and the Bible. And then we can see that indeed God has placed eternity in the hearts of all people, and that we can build bridges and say, you know, what we read today in the New York Times, what we read today as we were exploring what Taoists believe, what we read today as we were recalling a letter written by Chief Seattle of the Duwamish tribe back some 160 or 70 years ago. What we learn today is like this, and then we point people to Scripture. This is beautiful. I find great joy in doing this. And so my morning reading consists not only of Scripture, but also of some broader reading. And I love to build the links. I hope this is helpful for you. And I look forward to conversing about it more and sharing more in some upcoming preaching. Thank you so much. We'll see you.